Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this video. Before we get into it, I need to thank the Maven 2017 for a very stimulating and very intellectually thought-provoking video. She allowed me to join in the conversation, and she put up with my inability to think straight, and I thank her for it. And I do ramble. I believe the name of this particular series is Are You Ready to Ramble? So I kind of fit in. It was very good, and I thank her so much for staying up way past her bedtime. She's in Cambodia, and they're 12 hours ahead of us. And this very kind soul, it was almost 1 o'clock in the morning where she was at when we finished doing it, and that just tells you she's a very caring and good person, to let me spew forth my drivel for 4 hours. You know, I love people like that. People like that they inspire me. They're really good. Yes, it was very enjoyable. I'll try to put a link down to her page in the description if my mush little brain, or the thing between my ears that passes for a brain, remembers to do so. But that was very good. The video that I posted on the 17th, which is today, the video is just to reiterate that I filmed these in advance of actually posting them, so I have time to sit and edit and play with them. So yeah, it was enjoyable, and I thank her very much for it. I'd love to catch more stuff. On Wednesday, she does a Genx kind of thing, which is kind of cool. And like I said, it was very enjoyable. So I need to go and thank all the really good people that subscribed, that watch the videos, that leave comments. You all are very appreciated. It means a lot to me. It keeps me going, keeps me wanting to come and do these videos. And I thank you all. I like to thank all the people that are Gen X creators that put content out there to enlighten the world of our struggles, our trials, our tribulations, our traumas, our joys, our laughter, our love. That is great. We need a lot more of it. So that's cool. And I thank them. It's good to get out and experience this stuff. I also want to thank the people that do content in general. I feel the more people that do content, put knowledge out there, and if you can beat the system by doing it and getting monetized, go for it. Have fun. Make millions. I hope the best for you all. And keep doing what you're doing. Now, the subject matter of this video is I want to look at how things that were fictions, but they weren't. For example, the original Ridley Scott Alien. On the surface, it's a story about people, space exploration, pick up an alien, and the alien kills them. Kills all but one of them and a cat. The cat and the intelligent woman survive. All the dumb people get killed. The movie, that's what it appears to be about, or that's what the bait is. That's what the bait is to get you into it. But if you look what was going on in the late 1970s, you had America being humiliated in Vietnam by what we considered an uncultured, untrained military force. You had the oil embargo. You had crushing inflation. You had worries about natural resources. Okay. You go, now let's look at that in the context of the movie. You have basically space truckers, space miners. They're out in space. They got this big asteroid connected to the ship that's being automatically refined for its ores, for its minerals, its resources that we've depleted on Earth. They pick up an alien, which they consider to be uncivilized, uncultured, and it totally humiliates them. I don't think those parallels are accidental. Just, something to think about. There's Alan Moore in the 80s wrote, I believe it's 80s, may have been early 90s, a comic series called V for Vendetta, which was made into a movie. The comic, when he wrote it, was an indictment of the Thatcher regime in England. The movie, when they made the movie, was an indictment of the Bush administration, the Bush II administration in America at that time. Where the movie deviates from the source material is needed. Because there are things that work in the source material that would have never played out on the movie. The EV character in the comic, I can't remember if her name was Evie actually in the comic. It's been a while since I read it. But that character in the comic starts out as a 14-year-old prostitute. In cinema, that doesn't play. 14-year-old prostitutes in American cinema, not going to work. Not in the context of this story. But as Evie progresses through the comic, and all your other characters progress through the comic, it is dealing with the struggles of the 80s, the arms race, the buildup of nuclear weapons in Europe, authoritarian rule, The movie's the same thing. It's this proliferation of authoritarianism version of conservatism. There are the High Chancellor is a parallel of, in the movie, is a parallel of Bush, and his hitman, I want to say Kruger, but Kruger is Bruce Willis movies. It's Dick Cheney, a ruthless bastard who's going to do what he's going to do to maintain power and control. And in the movie, V turns them against each other, or turns one against the other one. And ultimately, you have the triumph, and the good guys win. It's kind of, in the comic, it's kind of up in the air. In the comic, after V dies, Evie, the Evie character, takes on the role of V and furthers the fight for the people, or the fight of the people. And one of the things that the comic touches on, but the movie slams home, is that the people who allow this to happen are just as culpable as the people that were doing it. When you lay down your agency for safety, you're just as wrong as the people who are telling you to lay down your agency for security. I'm not going to spoil the comic or the movie. I may have spoiled the movie already just a little bit, but if you grew up in the 80s and have you can separate the nostalgia of growing up with the reality of growing up, they both have their place. It is my understanding that Alan Moore was not real keen on the movie because it changed and adapted so much, and to a certain degree he's right. In fact, he had his name pulled off the credits, and all his royalties went to a charity. I think he took all his royalties and gave them to a charity. Didn't keep a single penny of it. But it was that 80s, that whole thing though, that turbulent thing. And I do have a strong nostalgic look at the 80s. As if I would feel that many people that grew up in the 80s, 70s, 80s, probably have this real strong nostalgic connection to that time period. But if you can separate, kind of take the nostalgia, put it on pause, then look at it through objective, unfiltered eyes, you'll find that it's a fiction, but it's telling the truth. And I don't remember the exact quote from either the comic or the movie, but it boils down that sometimes you have to disguise the truth with lies. And this is one of the things on the thing that I joined with the Maven in 2017 we talked about, is this And I lost train of thought. I hate it when that happens. Movie in the comic book, this unfiltered, you know, how, like, especially science fiction writers, some of your horror writers, Stephen King, for instance. I got a story about how I started Stephen King. I don't know if I've said it in one of my other videos. I may have, but I'll reiterate it in this video at some point. But they hide the truth. They don't hide it. They mask it in their works. Stephen King's It, for instance. That's a coming of age story. Heinlein's, Robert Heinlein's The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, in essence, is a retelling of the American fight for the American Revolutionary War. The facts and the trepidations and stuff that people that founded the country were going through at the time they were doing it, but it's set in the future and set in space. It's a history story. In the video with the Maven 2017, or the Maven, I'm going to use the Maven, Battlestar Galactica, both the original and the reboot, are telling of the Jewish diaspora. 12 tribes of Kobold, 12 tribes of Israel, being conquered and fleeing their homes. And I could go on and on and on with that, but it is paying attention to the nuances. And I think the reason why I say it is because or I should say not say it, the reason why I see it is because whoever installed the OS in my brain was either a revolutionary, had very unlimited power, or was disgruntled, or possibly all three at one time. There's no telling. And that's how I view things. And that's how a wonderful English teacher I had got me into Stephen King. It's like, your brain's put together different. This won't scare you, but it will stimulate that thought process you have. And that's how I got into Stephen King. Like I said, I'm afraid that I've already put that in a past video. I'd have to go through my archive to find out, figure it out. But if I haven't, I'll share that story at some point. I was going to do it in this video, but I noticed we're running about 18 minutes, and I try to keep these under 25 minutes. So, like, once again, thank you all. Thank the Maven. It was very intellectually stimulating. If you're watching this video and you see me on, participating in one of her videos, feel free to ask me anything you want to ask, because I will either answer it or I'll give you a reason why I don't feel comfortable answering it. I feel it's only fair that if you ask me a question and I don't feel comfortable answering it, that I should give you a reason. It's just why I am. I try not to act emotionally, though sometimes I fail horribly, especially when it comes to my wife. There are things that have been said to her and have been done to her that she considers trivial, that I'm really a kill person. And she has to, like, no, no. And there are things she has told me that she'll intentionally wait a week or 2, 3 weeks to tell me because she knows how I get. But I constantly try to act out of intellect and not emotion. There are times when I will allow my emotions to run rampant, but they're usually my positive emotions: joy, love, happiness, and they're great. But as far as making decisions, I try to use the intellectual part of my brain. Doesn't always work. I mean, my brain, let's face it, I'm not the most intelligent person out on the planet. So this is, I was wrapping this video up, wasn't I? Yeah, I was. I got on a tangent. See, mush brains. So until next time, everyone, be safe, have fun, peace.